What's up everybody, this is Squeak. In this video I'm going to show how easy it is to create a patch or a custom patch using the Xio. Two ways you can do this. You can start with a preset or you can start with the bare bones patch, which is Synth Program 199. Allows you to build your patch from the bottom up. I'm going to start with 199 and build my patch from the bottom up. On the other video, I explained that you have 10 voices on the synth engine and you have 3 oscillators per patch and 17 different waveforms to choose from for each of those oscillators. How you select your oscillators is a very simple process. This button right here is your oscillator button. By pressing this button will toggle back and forth between the 3 oscillators, and the LED will indicate which oscillator you currently have selected. Oscillator 1, oscillator 2, oscillator 3. To the right is a button titled Waveform. This button will scroll through the 17 different waveforms that you can choose for each of those oscillators. For example, if I press and hold the key, and I press the waveform button, it tells me that sawtooth is the waveform that is currently set for oscillator 1. And how I change that is pressing the button continuously. And it will scroll through the 17 different waveforms. And I'm going to take it back to sawtooth. I'll make this a 2 oscillator patch, so I'm going to select oscillator number 2. Now as I press the waveform button, you notice nothing changes, and there's a reason. I have to now adjust the level for oscillator 2 so that you can hear it. So I'll go up to here. The LED is already telling me that I'm working with everything on the top level here. So this second button will adjust my level for oscillator 2. So let's see, I'll set it all the way up to 127. And it tells me that I have harpsichord selected for oscillator 2. So as I scroll back and forth here, you can hear it change just a little bit. And I'll select a triangle waveform for oscillator number 2. Now I'll get out of there and I will go into the menus. This button right here, once I press that, the lower LED comes on. It tells me everything on this lower blue line. I can now access all these different parameters. Each of these buttons now becomes the button for example, for oscillator, pulse width, mixer, filter, pitch modulation pad, and so forth. I'm going to go into the oscillator section. It's already on there on default. First thing that comes up is portamento. I'll go back to that one. Let's see, I'll go through here and play with the octave level. Each of the oscillators, you can set the octave level for each of those. So I'll take oscillator 1, we'll set it up 1. Let's see, what else? I'll set the poly mode to mono. I'll go to unison and I will set that to 3. And as I scroll through here, there's other things I can do, such as the oscillator VCO drift, the oscillator pre-glide, and so forth. Let's see, what else do I want to do with this? Again, I'm making this patch, guys, on the fly. I have no idea what I want to do with it, so we'll just the ending result will be a surprise for all of us. Okay. Let's see. I will go under the. We'll just mess around with the filter section here. Let me get out of this menu, and I'm gonna go under my filters, and maybe we'll take the resonance. Set it to 82, and I set my filter frequency. Bring it down to 87. Okay, now I'm going to do something else. Right here again on the menu button. This button now is going to determine my pitch, mod, and pad. By pressing that button, it takes me to the menu that I can select all these different parameters that determine what my modulation and pitch stick will do, as well as my touchpad. Okay. The screen is up. It says oscillator 1 bend. I can set the pitch bend range individually for each of my oscillators, and default is set to 2, so I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see. We'll set the modulation up to maybe 15. All right. Now I want to show you something else. This is modulation filter frequency. Not only can I modulate the sound with the stick, I can set the modulation stick to control my filter frequency. Watch this. I'll set that down to 30. There we go. You hear that? So that's pretty cool being able to do that. We'll get out of here and I'll go over here to my effects section. I have several effects to choose from. I can use a delay, reverb, chorus, distortion, EQ, volume, and panning all on one patch. So I'll set the delay. Go down here and set the reverb. Maybe put some chorus on it. And a little bit of distortion. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to go back under this menu here. I want to do something else now that I think about it. I'm going to go back under the oscillator section, and I'm going to adjust the portamento. Let's see. So you see, it's not very difficult at all. The layout on the Xio it's very easy to understand. You've got 11 knobs and 11 buttons, and with this LED over here being top LED, lower LED, you actually have 22 different functions using this one right here. And again, this menus button, this also will allow you to access other parameters. Now, some people will complain about having to go into menus and so forth, but you got to remember, look how small the panel is on the Xio, okay? I mean, they were only able to squeeze so much on this panel, so obviously some things had to go into menus. But a lot of the power in this synth is in these menus, things that you don't see on the panel here. And once you start getting into these menus and exploring all these different parameters, you'll be really surprised at what you can do with this synth. And again, like I said in my other video, like this touchpad, you can have 4 different parameters on this touchpad, 2 in the X and 2 in the Y. As you just saw, I took my modulation and I set it to not only modulate, but I also set it to do my filter frequency. So all these different things that you can do with this little synth. For $299, you can't beat that price, you know. So run down to your local music stores and check these things out, all right?